Please remain standing for the entrance of the flag party. S'il vous plaît, veuillez rester debout pour l'entrée de la garde du drapeau.
Flag party, move to the right in twos. Right, turn.
Senior Cadet Captain Newman, carry on.
Charles, 2016. En place repos. Garde à vous.
Please remain standing for the national anthem, and I would like to ask Mrs. Danielle Boutillier, Superintendent of Officer Cadets, to lead you. Alors, veuillez rester debout et vous joindre à Madame Danielle Boutillier, surintendante des élèves officiers, pour le chant de l'hymne national.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command, car ton bras s'épaule pays, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada.
Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir, s'il vous plaît. Commissioner Thomas, Mr. Matthew King, and Executive Director, Monsieur Brian LeBlanc, will now inspect the 2016 graduating class. Alors, la commissaire Thomas, Monsieur King et le directeur exécutif, Monsieur LeBlanc, procéderont maintenant à l'inspection de la classe de 2016. Thank you, Commissioner Thomas, Monsieur King et Monsieur le directeur Leblanc.
Classe 2016. Servez les rangs, marche. Vers la droite, tournez. Vers la gauche, pas que lancer. Marche.
Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Mendez, and I'm very happy to be with you again this afternoon. Alors, mon nom est Nicole Mendez, et je suis encore très heureuse d'être avec vous cet après-midi. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is the day the 14 officer cadets sitting in the front rows have been waiting for. Distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, voilà enfin le jour que les 14 élèves officiers devant moi attendent depuis longtemps. La célébration d'aujourd'hui est entièrement à propos d'eux et d'elles. Vous êtes les vedettes du jour. Today's celebration is all about you. You are the stars of the day. But you are not alone in celebrating your accomplishments. Your family, your friends are here to applaud you. Mais vous n'êtes pas les seuls à célébrer vos accomplissements. Votre famille et vos amis sont ici pour vous applaudir. Mais là ne s'arrête pas la liste de gens qui sont fiers de vous et qui partagent votre succès. Depuis le moment où vous avez commencé à considérer une carrière à la garde côtière, vous avez été aidé, servi, guidé par un grand nombre de personnes. Le personnel du bureau d'admission, les gens des affaires étudiantes, par les dévoués employés des services ménagers, par le personnel de la cafétéria, de la bibliothèque, par les membres de l'administration dans leurs rôles respectifs et enfin par vos instructeurs et instructrices. But the list of people who are proud of you and want to share in your success does not stop there. From the very moment you started considering a career with the Coast Guard, you have been helped, served, guided by so many people. The admissions officers, the students' affairs personnel, by the devoted members of housekeeping, by cafeteria staff, library personnel, by members of the administration in their various capacities, and finally, by your instructors. Know this: you have been appreciated and you have been loved. Sachez ceci, vous avez été appréciés et vous avez été aimés. Alors, au nom de tous et en mon nom personnel, on all these people's behalf and in my personal name, I would like to salute you. Je vous salue. Alors, now, I would like to introduce our guests on stage. J'aimerais vous présenter nos invités sur l'estrade. Alors, en commençant par votre extrême droite, Mr. Richard Garber, Executive Director, Marine Personnel Standards, Pilotage and Medicine. Monsieur Richard Garber, Directeur exécutif, normes du personnel maritime, pilotage et médecine. Monsieur Pierre Jean, Directeur des études, Collège de la Garde côtière canadienne. Mr. Pierre Jean, Director of Studies, Canadian Coast Guard College. Dr. David McCorkadale, Dean, School of Science and Technology, Cape Breton University. Dr. David McCorkadale, Doyen, Faculté de Sciences et Technologies, Cape Breton University. Dr. David Wheeler, President, Cape Breton University. Le Dr. David Wheeler, Président, Cape Breton University. Mr. Matthew King, Deputy Minister, Fisheries and Oceans, retired. Monsieur Matthew King, Ministre adjoint, Pêche et Océan, à la retraite. La commissaire, de la garde côtière, Jody Thomas, Canadian Coast Guard Commissioner. Merci. Et enfin, le directeur exécutif du Collège de la garde côtière, Canadian Coast Guard College Executive Director, Monsieur Brian Leblanc. And I would also like to acknowledge again today Dr. Larry Hildebrand, Professor, Canadian Chair, World Maritime University in Malmö, Sweden. Alors, j'aimerais vous présenter aussi le professeur et directeur de l'Université maritime mondiale à Malmö, en Suède. Now, before we go further with things, we have an honorary degree to confer this afternoon. Alors, nous avons la remise d'un diplôme honorifique. Alors, ce diplôme honorifique est présenté en reconnaissance d'éminents services rendus au programme de formation maritime. Les candidats doivent rencontrer l'un des critères suivants: contribution exceptionnelle à la formation maritime, support visible pour le Collège de la garde côtière canadienne et dans un poste d'influence susceptible de promouvoir la garde côtière canadienne. So this award is presented in recognition of outstanding meritorious service to marine training. Candidates must meet one of the following criteria: exceptional contribution to marine training, visible support for the Canadian Coast Guard College, and in a position of influence that may help promote the Canadian Coast Guard. I would now like to ask Monsieur Brian Leblanc, our Executive Director, notre directeur exécutif, à venir vous présenter le récipiendaire de cet honneur. So Mr. Leblanc is going to introduce the recipient of this honor.
Merci, Madame Mendez. Deputy Minister Matthew King has just recently retired after a long and distinguished career in the federal public service. Le sous-ministre Matthew King a récemment pris sa retraite après une longue et brillante carrière au sein de la fonction publique. Mr. King first joined the Department of Fisheries and Oceans in 1992 when he was named Director of Federal-Provincial Relations. After working in a number of senior positions in other government departments, from 1992 to 1999, Mr. King returned to Fisheries and Oceans as the Assistant Deputy Minister, Oceans Sector. In 2003, he took on the role of Assistant Deputy Minister Policy. Mr. King s'est d'abord joint au ministère des Pêches et des Océans en 1992 à titre de directeur Relations fédérales et provinciales. Après avoir occupé un certain nombre de postes de cadre supérieur dans d'autres ministères entre 1992 et 1999, M. King est revenu à Pêche et Océans Canada en tant que sous-ministre adjoint secteur des océans. En 2003, il a accepté le poste de sous-ministre adjoint politique. Mr. King then served in a number of senior positions across government, including Associate Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Oceans in 2009. Following 2 years as Associate Deputy Minister of National Defence, Matthew King was appointed Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Oceans on January the 14th, 2013. Mr. King a ensuite occupé différents postes de direction dans l'ensemble du gouvernement, y compris celui de sous-ministre délégué des Pêches et Océans en 2009. Après avoir occupé le poste de sous-ministre délégué de la Défense nationale pendant 2 ans, Matthew King a été nommé sous-ministre des Pêches et Océans le 14 janvier 2013. Mr. King holds a Master of Public Administration from Harvard University and a Bachelor of Social Science from the University of Ottawa. Mr. King est titulaire d'une maîtrise en administration publique de l'Université Harvard et un baccalauréat en sciences sociales de l'Université d'Ottawa. It is my pleasure to ask Commissioner Thomas to present Deputy Minister King an Honorary Canadian Coast Guard College diploma for his service in Fisheries and Oceans and for his unwavering support to the Canadian Coast Guard and the Canadian Coast Guard College. J'ai le plaisir de demander à la commissaire Thomas de décerner au sous-ministre King un diplôme honorifique du Collège de la Garde côtière en reconnaissance de ses années de service au sein de Pêche et Océans et de son soutien à la garde de la Garde côtière et du Collège de la Garde côtière. Merci. And now I would like to ask Mr. Deputy Minister King to give a few words to the graduating class and the people here at today's ceremony.
Merci, Nicole. Le commissaire Thomas, M. Wheeler, M. Leblanc, M. Garber, M. Jean, la promotion de cette année, invités d'honneur, mesdames et messieurs. Puis-je confier à quel point j'éprouve beaucoup d'humilité et d'émotion d'avoir été convié ici pour recevoir un diplôme honorifique de collège de la garde côtière canadienne et d'être désormais lié à l'histoire impressionnante de cette institution. This is obviously not my first graduation, but it's the first time I have been in bed asleep at 9:30 the night before the graduation, so I guess time marches on. You know, today is such an important day for our 14 graduates. You will be joining as Coast Guard officers one of the oldest federal departments, Fisheries and Oceans Canada, which will be celebrating its 150th anniversary next year. But just as importantly, and I say this to the graduating class, and I say this to the parents and friends and family of the graduates, you're also joining what I believe to be one of the finest public services in the world. And I can say that we are just very, very happy to have you. You know, while the Coast Guard, the origins of the Coast Guard can be traced back to the 1700s, when the first lifeboats and lighthouses were established here in Eastern Canada. It wasn't until the 1940s that organizations and communities pressed the government to establish a national Coast Guard. With ocean commerce expanding tremendously, and with the opening of the St. Lawrence Seaway in 1958, Coast Guard was officially created on January 26, 1962 by the then Minister of Transport, the Honorable Leon Balser. During debate in Parliament in 1964, when the establishment of the college here in Sydney was announced, Mr. Balser, who was by then an opposition member, stood and said, and I quote, "I think all honourable members know that great services are rendered to our country by the Coast Guard. Its fleet is an excellent one and very often operates under very strenuous circumstances off the shores of Canada. It is playing a major role as far as Canada's trade is concerned and has played a major role in very dangerous rescue operations," end quote. You know, these words could have been written today. They're just as true now as they were then. Similarly, then as now, the Coast Guard needs trained officers and crew members to operate the fleet, making the college just as relevant today as it was in 1965 when it was opened. Depuis plus de 50 ans déjà, le collège forme le personnel de la garde côtière afin qu'il puisse sauver des vies, qu'il soit en mesure de naviguer dans des eaux dangereuses, stimuler notre économie et protéger notre voie navigable, de même que les personnes qui les empruntent pour voyager. Et le collège a continué à ajuster ses besoins et ses programmes en matière de formation pour mieux servir les Canadiens. As newly graduated officers, you've been trained on cutting-edge equipment. You've had very, very good instruction, top-notch instruction, in fact. And you've had technical training on actual Coast Guard vessels. Now the sea phase will really begin for all of you. Over the past 51 years, many candidates have passed through these doors. They've come from all corners of our country with their hopes and their dreams to serve as Coast Guard officers, saving lives and making a difference in our country. Today, the 14 of you, the class of 2016, I hope would walk a little taller as you join their storied ranks and become part of the great Coast Guard tradition. J'ai personnellement eu l'honneur de travailler aux côtes de la garde côtière. J'ai été directement témoin du dévouement dont ses officiers et son personnel font preuve. Et je sais à quel point elle exige des normes rigoureuses et de professionnalisme. Je sais aussi que les cieux ne sont pas toujours clairs et que les mers ne sont pas toujours calmes. You know, the breadth of what you're about to be asked to do is staggering. Search and rescue, ice breaking, marine navigation, responding to environmental disasters, supporting science, and charting our oceans, and there's so much more. But we know, and you know, that you're ready now to meet these challenges, and you're in for one heck of a ride. Today, as I receive my honorary diploma, and I look at the names of previous Coast Guard College honorees, I actually feel that I'm in quite esteemed company. I join the ranks of people like William Elliott, the former Deputy Commissioner of the Coast Guard of Canada, Larry Murray, another former Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, both of whom are my close friends. And we join the Honourable Alan J. McEachen, who was Canada's first Deputy Prime Minister under Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau, as well as 29 other distinguished recipients dating back to 1790. I can think of nothing better to share the honour with these recipients to cap off my own career in the public service of Canada. Bien que j'ai travaillé pendant quelques 30 ans pour 8 différents ministères fédéraux, je me suis toujours senti chez moi à Passé-Océan. Chaque fois que j'ai resté au loin trop longtemps, j'y revenais, porté par la force d'un contre-courant. À titre de sous-ministre qui vient tout juste de terminer sa carrière, permettez-moi d'offrir quelques conseils à ceux et à celles d'entre vous qui commencez tout juste votre propre carrière. This advice really could apply to any graduate joining the public service today, but I think it has special relevance to our class here today because of so much because of what is at stake. To our impressive 14 graduates, our class of 2016, I say first, embrace the unknown. Your training has prepared you to face many situations, and you will face them. But it can't possibly have trained you to face each and every situation that you'll run into over the next number of years. You may be tempted, and it would be natural, I think, to be tempted to go around the unknown, but I've always found the best way to face it is head on, and I hope that that's exactly what you do. Second, and this is really important for the cohort that you are now part of, I really hope that you stay curious. You've been given a tremendous foundation of technical skills, but during your career, with the exponential development in technology, some or maybe even many of these skills will become obsolete. I think what's more important is your attitude toward change. Your education cannot stop here, it should not stop here. It's really only the beginning. You know, under the Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioner's leadership, the Coast Guard has now started the biggest recapitalization of its fleet in its history. It will be up to you and to the classes that follow you to leverage this technology to its maximum benefit, to the benefit of Canadians, which is why we're here. My last piece of advice is to trust yourself. You know, there'll always be people offering you free advice and the benefits of their experience, very much like I'm doing right now. But ultimately, you're the one that has to act on and rely on your own training, your own experience, and even your own intuition. We know that when the time comes, you'll know what to do. We know this because you are graduates of one of the finest maritime programs in the world. Alors j'aimerais conclure en remerciant le commissaire Thomas, la garde côtière canadienne et le collège de la garde côtière canadienne pour ce grand honneur. J'ai eu l'honneur de travailler à vos côtés pendant ces nombreuses années au service des Canadiens. Finally, and when you think about your futures and all that you're going to accomplish, and it's all going to be great over the next 30 or 35 years, I think it's important that you stop once in a while and think about the 1,000 or more graduates who've come before you and the course that they've charted for you over the last 50 years. Well, we can only imagine what the next 50 years will bring. It will be to you and your peers and your crewmates to continue to build on the traditions and the standard of excellence that was set, so ably set by those who came before you. Alors, je vous souhaite bonne chance à chacun d'entre vous et vous remercie une fois de plus pour cet hommage. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur King. Now, it's your turn. We will now present the certificates, degrees, and diplomas to the graduating officers. Nous allons maintenant présenter les certificats, baccalauréat et diplômes aux finissants de la promotion 2016. Guests are very welcome to approach the stage for pictures. This is an important day. You want souvenirs? We're not in a rush. By all means, come up. Alors, les spectateurs, les familles, c'est-à-dire, peuvent venir à l'avant, prendre des photos. Ce sont des souvenirs que vous voulez avoir avec vous, alors n'hésitez pas, prenez le temps de venir. So now, may I call upon Mr. Garber, President Wheeler, and Commissioner Thomas to confer the parchments. Monsieur Garber, Président Wheeler et Commissaire Thomas vont nous faire l'honneur de présenter les parchemins. Graduating cum laude, Navigation Officer Philip A. Campbell. L'officier de navigation, qui va graduer aussi cum laude, Jean-François Duquette. Engineering Officer, Kaylee Dawn Bowes Hansen. Navigation Officer Jacob L. Hayden Thomas. Engineering Officer Thomas Edward Hildebrand. Officier de navigation, Simon Laberge-Gaudin. Officier de navigation, Francis Lapierre. Graduating cum laude, Navigation Officer, Peter Hugh Mitchell. Engineering Officer, Shivam Sachin Narayan Singh. Engineering Officer, Lisa Nicole Newman. Navigation Officer, Lucien Léonard O'Hara. Officier de navigation, Catherine Marie-Danielle Plouffe. Navigation Officer Cole Jason Sanford. And Engineering Officer Tynan Thomas Earl Vogel. This is it, 14 wonderful new officers. Job well done, bravo à nos 14 nouveaux officiers de la garde côtière. Now, new officers, nouveaux officiers, veuillez vous lever. Please rise. No, this is not on your script. Rise. I have the microphone, I give orders. Imagine that. Now, vos amis, vos familles, tous ces gens qui vous ont supporté au cours de votre formation, ils sont ici et ils sont fiers de vous. All your family members, your friends who have encouraged you, supported you through your trainings, they're all here. So, turn around, tournez, et prenez un moment pour les remercier. Take a moment to acknowledge all these people who were there for you. You may now be seated. I love this giving orders thing. I could get used to this. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Pierre Jean, Director of Studies here at the college, to address everybody. J'aimerais demander à Monsieur Pierre Jean de bien vouloir s'adresser maintenant aux gens. Merci.
Was that an order? Thank you and welcome everyone. I would like to first congratulate the graduating class of 2016. You deserve every bit of accolades that you're getting this weekend. Je voudrais tout d'abord féliciter les finissants de la classe 2016. Vous avez mérité toutes les félicitations que vous recevez en fin de semaine. I was asked to deliver an address to the instructors, and I would like to extend this recognition to all of the supporting staff at the Canadian Coast Guard College that make an impact on the lives of the officer cadets day in and day out. There's not one function, one job, one person at the college that is not implicated in making your stay at the college as meaningful and successful as possible. And they all touch your lives and contribute to your development, even if you don't directly recognize it. That contribution to your training, career development, and nurturing cannot go unrecognized. La graduation est une célébration non seulement pour les élèves officiers, mais c'est aussi une fête pour les instructeurs parce que ensemble vous avez investi énormément pendant les dernières quatre ans. Je crois toujours que nous développons des officiers qui sont considérés les plus compétents au Canada, sinon au monde. Ceci témoigne du haut niveau d'instruction et le dévouement du personnel enseignant au Collège de la Garde côtière. Je suis toujours impressionné par le niveau de professionnalisme dont vous faites preuve et j'ai une grande confiance que vous avez acquis les connaissances et les compétences nécessaires pour apporter une contribution extrêmement utile à votre pays. Graduation is a celebration not only for the officer cadets, but as I'm often reminded, it's also a celebration for the instructors because together you have invested a lot in the past 4 years. At the end of the day, I still believe we graduate some of the finest and most competent officers in Canada, if not the world. This is a testament of the high level of instruction and dedication of the instructional staff at the Coast Guard College. I've listened to presentations, mostly about training ships. Sorry, Commissioner, I promised the officer cadets I'd put one last plug in for that. I've read your reports. I've watched you guys masterfully handle boats. I've seen the work that you do in the machine shops. And I'm so impressed with what I see and the level of professionalism you demonstrate. It gives me great confidence that you have acquired the knowledge and skills necessary to make an invaluable contribution to your country. So what's the formula for making a successful officer? You start with the best of the best from across Canada. Throw in a few life lessons, a few work parties, mix together with some of the best instructors around, and you stir it for 4 years. And voila, you are the end product. And from where I sit, it looks like a masterpiece. We're not naive enough to think, to take all the credit for your development, to get you ready to become officers, but we're realistic enough to acknowledge that the instructors played a major part in making you the professional mariners you are today. Je me suis demandé à plusieurs reprises ce qui faisait un bon instructeur, quelles sont les qualités qui démarquent les nôtres. Dans les salles de classe où les instructeurs cherchent à défier les étudiants et rendre l'apprentissage significatif, à l'extérieur des salles de classe, chaque fois que l'aide supplémentaire est nécessaire, que ce soit du coaching pour accorder accès aux bateaux ou aux ateliers mécaniques lors des heures de travail. Et finalement, à des activités parascolaires comme le tir à l'arc, l'équipe de natation, les manifestations sportives, des événements de relations publiques, où les instructeurs et le personnel donnent généreusement de leur temps, les soirées et les fins de semaine. Et c'est très apprécié. Lorsque vous avez tous ces éléments, vous savez qu'on a un programme réussi. Now you become key in the important role of knowledge transfer to the future generations of officer cadets and crews that will cross paths with you on various vessels in the fleet, or until you decide to become an instructor at the college. And always remember the qualities you admired from your instructors, as this will guide you in your own approach to teaching. À la communauté du collège et aux instructeurs de garde côtière, nous vous remercions pour votre approche passionnée à l'enseignement. Merci, instructeurs passés et présents, d'avoir développé le Collège de la Garde côtière canadienne en une des meilleures institutions de formation maritime au monde. In closing, to the college community, to the instructors of the Canadian Coast Guard College, thank you for your passionate approach to teaching. And thank you, past and present instructors, for making the Canadian Coast Guard College a world-renowned marine training institution. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you, Mr. Jean. Are you sure you don't want to continue praising us? We love it.
You guys are wonderful.
Merci beaucoup pour ces belles paroles. Maintenant, I would like to ask Dr. Wheeler, President of Cape Breton University, to address the graduating class. Dr. Wheeler, Président de Cape Breton University, auriez-vous l'obligeance de venir vous adresser à nos nouveaux gradués?
Merci beaucoup. Commissioner Thomas, Mr. King, Executive Director LeBlanc, Dean McCorkadale, colleagues, families, and friends and graduates of the Canadian Coast Guard College and now Cape Breton University. Jilasi, Cade Mila Falta, bienvenue, and to our guests from across the country, welcome to Unamagi, the ancestral lands of the Mi'kmaq, more recently known as Cape Breton Island. I'm sure everyone here today joins me in offering sincere congratulations to the graduating class of 2016. Today marks the culmination of many, many years of hard work for today's graduates. Recognizing their success is the highlight of our academic calendar. So speaking on behalf of the college and Cape Breton University, it is why we're all here. Graduates, you've worked hard, played hard, some of you have played very hard, and you have achieved success in your chosen fields of study. Your families and friends who supported you in reaching this great day also deserve our recognition and our thanks. The class of 2016 represents graduates who operate in both French and English and who will in future protect nearly 250,000 kilometres of Canadian coastline. And as Mr. King referenced earlier, they are simply the finest men and women Canada has to offer. And they are joining the distinguished ranks of more than 1,000 officers who have graduated from the college since its founding in 1965. And as a small note of extra pride in your association with Cape Breton University, this was the year that CBU became the world's first carbon neutral university. We now produce double the amount of green electricity through our 5.4 megawatt wind farm than we would need to offset carbon emissions through all of our energy use, which means that you 14 graduates will always be a member of the first ever cohort of climate-friendly Canadian Coast Guard College and CBU graduates. Congratulations, that's one for the CV. And so, given the announcement this week by Minister LeBlanc of $32 million for infrastructure investments at the college, I think I should also take this opportunity to congratulate Commissioner Thomas and Executive Director LeBlanc and his colleagues on reducing the future greenhouse gas impacts of the college by 20%. Great step forward for the college. This is indeed important on behalf of a federal government that has signalled a serious intention for Canada to play its full part in addressing climate change. Since the college was founded 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago now, global CO2 emissions have trebled and atmospheric CO2 concentrations have increased from 320 to, last Thursday, 407 parts per million. According to the OECD, without dramatic political action during the career lifetimes of today's graduates, atmospheric CO2 levels could reach a catastrophic 700 ppm. That would mean the grandchildren of our graduates today would then be living in a world 3 to 6 degrees warmer than present conditions. Whilst there are some who would say this sounds pleasant, especially in the middle of a Canadian winter, we all need to understand that such dramatic change would make the world an infinitely more dangerous place. There is absolutely no doubt whatsoever that man-made climate change will fundamentally impact the challenges and duties of today's graduates. Even if we can arrest CO2 emissions, and certainly our federal government is now trying to do that, and keep the world to an optimistic target of a 2-degree temperature rise. For example, according to NASA, this year Arctic sea ice reached a record low wintertime maximum extent for the 2nd year in a row. Scientists now predict that within the lifetimes of today's graduates, Arctic summer ice coverage will disappear altogether. More severe and more frequent weather-related disasters, pollution incidents in the Arctic, sea level rise, and resource conflicts. All of these are real threats to Canada and Canadians, and today's graduates will be absolutely in the front line. On a happier note, I'm proud to say that today's graduates are more than ready to meet and transcend these challenges. And building on the leadership and other skills that today's graduates have developed, limitless opportunities are now open for them. The friendships and interprovincial and intercultural connections represented by today's graduates will allow our graduates to lead more fulfilling family and professional lives while making the oceans a safer and more sustainable environment for future generations. And it is especially fitting that these bonds have been forged on Unama'ki, Cape Breton Island. Our island is a true global village where Canadians from coast to coast to coast and students from around the world come together to share learning and promote global values. Cape Breton Island has long been a home and a destination for adventurers, First Nations, traders, entrepreneurs and dreamers. Many of those adventurers relied on the maritime navigation, science and engineering skills that you exemplify, as well as the personal qualities our graduates today represent in abundance. So everyone at Cape Breton University is proud of our long-time association with the Coast Guard College. It is based on shared values and shared aspirations, and we hope to see many exciting developments between our two institutions in the future, perhaps including shared delivery programs to new cohorts of international students, both here and overseas. In years to come, I know you'll remember your time here with fondness and with pride. You'll always be part of the Coast Guard College, global alumni, and indeed part of the wider Cape Breton University family. You'll always be a Cape Breton Islander, wherever you are from. And I would remind all of our graduates to make sure that on their LinkedIn profiles, they always make that link back to Cape Breton Island and to CBU. Canada is blessed by its dedicated and committed public servants, and so I was delighted to see, Mr. King, your very well-deserved honour today. Congratulations. And none of its public servants is more dedicated and committed to making the world a safer and more sustainable place than members of the Canadian Coast Guard. Delivering security on 3 coasts all year round is becoming the norm. Ensuring the inclusion of our Aboriginal and Native communities' rights and well-being will become ever more essential as fisheries, tourism, offshore energy and mineral interests compete for economic advantage in our seas and our oceans. And so developing the ability to champion Canadian values of fairness, sustainability and social justice will be essential to the career of every graduating student today. I know you will carry that responsibility with steadfast good humour and with courage. As Jacques Cousteau once said, the sea, the great unifier, is man's only hope. Now, as never before, the old phrase has a literal meaning. We're all in the same boat. We know that boat is in safe hands with the Canadian Coast Guard College and with the graduates of today. Bonne chance. Thank you for your service to Canada. Merci à tous.
Merci beaucoup, President Wheeler. J'aimerais maintenant demander à la commissaire de la garde côtière, Jodie Thomas, de bien vouloir s'adresser aux gradués. I would like to ask Commissioner Jodie Thomas to address the graduating class.
A lot of speeches before the party. Class of 2016, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, it is an enormous pleasure for me to be here today for this ceremony. I have the wonderful opportunity to welcome the newest officers to the Canadian Coast Guard. Bienvenue aux nouveaux officiers au sein de la garde côtière canadienne. As you begin your career, you join the thousands of women and men who have dedicated their lives to the Canadian Coast Guard. You join a legacy of leaders who've shaped the Canadian Coast Guard through their incredible dedication, commitment, and integrity to each other and to Canadians. Coast Guard officers truly strive to embody our motto of safety first, service always. Aujourd'hui, vous faites partie de cette belle équipe. Vous faites partie d'un groupe aux compétences, à l'expertise, et un sens de devoir inégal. Today, you become a member of a group with unsurpassed skill, expertise, and devotion to duty. Tomorrow, however, the learning truly begins. En tant qu'officier de la garde côtière, vous travaillez aux premières lignes. Le parcours que vous acheminerez est crucial. As officers of the Coast Guard, you are our front line. Have no doubt that the journey you are about to embark on is critically important. You will see people at their best and at their worst. You will have days that are good, and you will have days that are tough, really tough. You will deliver programs and services that ensure the safety of mariners and the protection of our marine environment. You will contribute to what makes this country, Canada, great. Vous contribuerez à la prospérité économique de nos pays et soutiendrez de nombreuses activités scientifiques du gouvernement du Canada et de ses partenaires. You will support the security and enforcement activities of many departments mandated to protect the public, our fisheries, and our country's security. You will save lives. There will be challenges. Of that, there is no doubt. Serving on the water in unpredictable and severe weather conditions will test your resolve and your abilities, but you will succeed. Do not shy away from difficult tasks. Do not be afraid to try new opportunities. Seize your career and challenge yourselves to be more. Croyez en vous et en vos compétences. Si vous avez besoin d'aide, regardez autour de vous. Vos collègues sont déjà passés par là et ils peuvent vous guider. Faites de votre mieux et vous réussirez. Vous avez suivi une excellente formation et vous êtes prête à foncer. You joined the Coast Guard during extraordinarily exciting times. We have many new vessels with cutting-edge technology and more are being built as we speak. Each new vessel is designed not only to meet the needs of today, but of the future. We are transitioning from the fleet that has served us for 50 years to newer and better, and you will be part of this future. C'est à votre tour de prendre votre place, et vous avez déjà tout ce qu'il faut pour devenir encore meilleur. Je vous demande de servir avec fierté et distinction, afin de devenir les leaders de demain. Now, leadership comes in many forms, and I'd like to turn to one incarnation for a moment, our honorary graduate, Mr. Matthew King, former Deputy Minister of Fisheries and Oceans. Mr. King est ici aujourd'hui en reconnaissance de sa contribution importante au progrès des intérêts de la garde côtière. C'est un homme de principe qui a très bien servi son pays. Je vous encourage tous à suivre son exemple. Mr. King is here today in recognition of his profound contribution to advancing the Coast Guard's interests from coast to coast to coast. He served each and every one of us in this room well. Behind any wall you'll find studs and foundation, and our organization behind any operation is a leader. Someone who, when the midnight call comes about trapped whales, environmental emergencies, a tragic helicopter crash, or an icebreaker that's near sinking, leaps into action and helps guide our response, helps lead what we'll do. That is who Matthew King was as our Deputy Minister. He offered support 24/7 And the position the Coast Guard is in today, with new money coming in, new ships being built, is entirely due to his efforts. I wish for you a leader who supports you the same way Mr. King has supported me. When I look out at you, the graduating class of 2016, I see the future. Future commanding officers, first officers, chief engineers, deputy commissioners, or even commissioner. Each of you should look at me and think, I can do that job. I can be commissioner. I want to be commissioner of the Canadian Coast Guard. You are our future, and our future looks very bright. Because it's 2016, I want to take one tiny indulgence and speak to the young women of the graduating class. The Coast Guard integrated women before any other federal uniformed service. You follow in the footsteps of pioneers, women who blaze trails and open doors for you so that you will have this opportunity without question. There is no question today about whether women should serve in our Coast Guard. There is no question that women should lead in our Coast Guard, and it is thanks to the women who came before you. Two are here today. Captain Joanne McNish from the Western Region and Assistant Commissioner Julie Gascon from Central and Arctic, both graduates of the college. These women are your mentors and your leaders. I encourage you to speak to them. They will inspire you. They are why you're here today, and we owe them a lot of things. Finally, I would like to thank all of our instructors for their great work. I'm sure, and I know, they're enormously proud of you, just as your friends and family are, and it's your day as well. We celebrate you. Today is your day. Enjoy it. I wish you a great summer. Take time to recharge, because many of you will set sail very soon. Félicitations, congratulations, and merci.
Commissaire Thomas, Commissioner Thomas, merci beaucoup. Thank you. Now, trophies and prizes. Ladies and gentlemen, you may notice that I will quite often turn and look just in case there is a trophy forgotten there that I can take home afterwards. Mesdames et messieurs, je vais garder un œil sur la table de trophées. Peut-être qu'on en oubliera un que je pourrai sortir en cachette. Really. We will now proceed to the awards portion of the graduation. A number of prizes have already been awarded yesterday, and you will find that in your souvenir brochure. Alors, nous procéderons maintenant à la distribution des prix. Alors, comme vous le savez, plusieurs prix ont été octroyés hier et vous pourrez trouver la liste des récipiendaires dans la brochure commémorative. Okay, suspense. Okay. The Newfoundland Trophy. Je m'excuse, le trophée de Terre-Neuve. This award is presented to the graduating navigation officer who received the highest marks in all subjects. Le trophée est décerné à l'officier en navigation de la promotion sortante qui a obtenu les notes les plus élevées dans toutes les matières. This award is being presented by Mr. Don Lewin, Regional Director Fleet Atlantic Region. Alors, le trophée sera présenté par Monsieur Don Lewin, directeur général de la flotte, région de l'Atlantique. Et cette année, le prix va, and the prize is for prize, I've been told, le prix va à Peter Hugh Mitchell. Le trophée commémoratif de Terre-Neuve, the Newfoundland Memorial Trophy. This award is presented to the engineering officer of the graduating class with the best overall results in seamanship skills. Ce trophée est décerné à l'officier en mécanique de la promotion sortante qui a démontré les meilleures compétences en matelotage. Ce trophée est présenté par le capitaine Brian Gibbons, commandant du navire de la garde côtière canadienne, Edward Cornwallis, région de l'Atlantique. This trophy will be presented by Captain Brian Gibbons, Commanding Officer, CCGS Edward Cornwallis, Atlantic Region. And this year's prize, et le prix cette année est décerné à Tynan Thomas Earl Vogel. The Maritimes Trophy, le trophée des maritimes. Le trophée est décerné à l'officier en mécanique de la promotion sortante qui a obtenu les notes les plus élevées dans toutes les matières professionnelles. This award is presented to the graduating engineering officer who received the highest marks in all professional subjects. The award is being presented by Mr. John Seymour, Chief Chief Engineer, CCGS, Edward Cornwallis, Atlantic Region. Alors, le prix est présenté par Monsieur John Seymour, MSM, ingénieur en chef, navire Edward Cornwallis de la garde côtière canadienne, région de l'Atlantique. And this year's winner est, in French it's a dead giveaway, la gagnante est Kaylee Donbos Hansen. Le trophée du Québec, le Quebec Trophy. Ce trophée est présenté à l'officier de la promotion sortante qui a persévéré, même en période difficile, et qui a réussi en face d'obstacles. This trophy is presented to the graduating officer who has pursued his or her training goals even when things got tough and has succeeded even in the face of obstacles. Ce prix est présenté par Madame Julie Gascon, commissaire adjointe de la garde côtière canadienne, région centrale et de l'Arctique. This prize will be presented by Mrs. Julie Gascon, Assistant Commissioner, Canadian Coast Guard, Central and Arctic region. And this year's recipient, la récipiendaire de cette année est Catherine Marie-Danielle Plouffe. Now, the Prescott and Parry Sound trophies, les trophées Prescott et Parry Sound. These trophies are presented to the graduating engineer officer and the graduating navigation officer with the most outstanding results in sea training phases. Alors, ces trophées sont présentés à l'officier mécanicien et à l'officier navigateur de la promotion sortante ayant reçu les meilleurs résultats pour les stages de formation en mer. The Prescott Trophy is being presented by Mr. Gary Ivany, Director, Marine Engineering. Ce trophée est aujourd'hui présenté par Monsieur Gary Ivany, Directeur en mécanique maritime. Le trophée Prescott est décerné à... The trophy goes to Lisa Nicole Newman. And the Parry Sound Trophy will be presented by Mr. Gary Ivany. Le trophée Parry Sound sera présenté, oh, I'm very sorry. It will be presented by, somebody made a mistake on my list, wasn't me, I swear. Le trophée sera présenté par Monsieur Mario Pelletier, commissaire adjoint, opération, Garde côtière canadienne. So, the trophy will be presented by Mr. Mario Pelletier, commissaire adjoint. And the trophy goes this year to Peter Hugh Mitchell. Le trophée de la région de l'Ouest, the Western Region Trophy, and this trophy is presented to the graduating officer with the best technical research paper. Ce trophée est décerné à l'officier de la promotion sortante ayant produit le meilleur rapport technique. And the award is being presented by Captain Joanne McNish. Le trophée est présenté par Capitaine Joanne McNish. And this year, the trophy goes to Peter Hugh Mitchell. The Navy League of Canada Trophy, le trophée de la Ligue navale canadienne. Awarded for courtesy and deportment, décerné à celui ou celle qui a fait preuve d'une courtoisie et d'une conduite exemplaire. Presenting this prize, Mr. Richard Garber, Executive Director, Personnel Standards, Pilotage and Medicine Transport Canada, Monsieur Richard Garber, Directeur exécutif, normes du personnel maritime, pilotage et médecine, Transport Canada, on behalf of Navy League of Canada, Cape Breton Division. And this year's trophy goes to, let me guess, Pierre Hugues Mitchell. Le prix de la Guilde de la Marine marchande du Canada, the Canadian Merchant Service Guild Prize. The prize is awarded to the graduating officer who has dedicated himself or herself through service to his and her fellow classmates. Ce prix est décerné à l'officier de la promotion sortante qui s'est dévoué au service de ses collègues. Presenting the prize is Mr. Thomas Spindler, Assistant Secretary Treasurer, Eastern Branch, Canadian Merchant Marine Guild. Monsieur Thomas Spindler, Secrétaire Trésorerie adjoint, Section de l'Est, Guilde de la Marine marchande canadienne. Et le prix, and the award goes this time to Pedro Hugo Mitchell. I have now figured out where I'll get a trophy. I'll ask Peter to share with me. Hein? Pensez-vous, mesdames et messieurs, qu'il va partager avec moi? Je l'espère. Allons-y. The Canadian Institute of Marine Engineering Prize, prix de l'Institut canadien de mécanique maritime. The prize is being awarded to the engineering officer of the graduating class who has obtained the highest score in marine engineering courses over 4 years. Ce prix est décerné à l'officier de la promotion sortante en mécanique qui a obtenu la plus haute note en mécanique maritime pendant la durée du programme. Presenting this prize will be Mrs. Sandra Attersley, representative of the Canadian Institute of Marine Engineering. Madame Sandra Attersley, représentante de la, représentante de l'Institut de mécanique maritime canadienne. Et le prix cette année va à, and the prize goes to, Kaylee Dawn Bowles Hansen. Le prix du directeur, the Director's Prize. Ce prix est présenté à la personne élue par la promotion sortante pour prononcer l'allocution d'adieu lors de la collation des grades. This prize is awarded to the person who was elected by the members of the graduating class to pronounce the farewell address during this ceremony. And presenting this prize is, of course, Mr. Brian Leblanc, Executive Director of the College. Monsieur Brian Leblanc va présenter le prix. Et le prix est accordé à Cole Jacob Sanford. The Seahorse Trophy, le trophée Seahorse. Le trophée Seahorse est le prix décerné à l'élève officier qui s'est distingué par son indépendance de caractère tempéré par son obéissance. The Seahorse Trophy is presented to the officer cadet who has distinguished himself or herself by his or her independence of character tempered with obedience. The trophy will be presented by Mr. Matthew King, Deputy Minister, Fisheries and Ocean, retired. Alors, le trophée sera présenté par Monsieur Matthew King, ministre adjoint, Pêche et Océan, à la retraite. Et cette année, le trophée est accordé, and the prize winner is Jean-François Duquette. The Graves Prize, le Prix Graves. This award is for top academics. Le prix représente l'excellence académique. And this prize will be awarded or presented by Dr. David Wheeler, President and Vice Chancellor, Cape Breton University. Alors, le prix sera présenté par Dr. David Wheeler, Président et Vice-Chancelier, Cape Breton University. And the prize goes to, le prix va à, I just make sure I read this correctly, Peter Hugh Mitchell! Le trophée Bartlett et la médaille du centenaire, the Bartlett Trophy and Centennial Medal. This prize is being presented to the graduating officer who has been deemed best all around. Le trophée est décerné à l'officier qui a mieux réussi dans tous les aspects de sa formation. Et ce prix sera présenté par la commissaire Jody Thomas. This prize will be given by Commissioner Jody Thomas. And the prize goes to, I love the suspense, Philip A. Campbell. New recruits. And now, the Conway Medal and the John McCullough Memorial Award. La médaille Conway et le prix commémoratif John McCullough. This medal and award are presented to the graduating officer who best exhibits the Conway Medal selection as described in your souvenir brochure. Cette médaille et ce prix commémoratif sont décernés à l'officier de la promotion sortante qui a le mieux démontré les critères de sélection de la médaille Conway tels que décrits dans votre brochure commémorative. And presenting this award is Mr. Tim Rooney, past recipient of the Conway Medal. I'm told it's the 007 class, and instructor here at the college. Alors cette année, le prix est décerné par Monsieur Tim Rooney, récipiendaire en 2007 de cette médaille, et maintenant instructeur au Collège de la Garde côtière. Et le gagnant, the winner of this great award, is Jean-François Duquesne. I would now like to invite valedictorian, Navigation Officer Cole Sanford, to deliver the farewell address. J'aimerais maintenant demander à l'officier de navigation Cole Sanford de prononcer le discours d'adieu.
Congratulations to all the award winners, especially Peter. Maybe next time I'll just give you a chair up here on the stage. Good afternoon, fellow graduates, colleagues, college staff, and honored guests. My name is Cole Sanford, and it is my privilege today to speak to you on behalf of myself and my esteemed classmates after a long and arduous 4-year journey. Bon après-midi, camarades, collègues, employés du collège et invités distingués. Mon nom est Cole Sanford et c'est un honneur aujourd'hui de m'adresser à vous en mon nom, ainsi qu'au nom de mes estimés camarades après ce long et ardu parcours de 4 ans. The class of 2016 is a diverse group of individuals. We arrived at the Canadian Coast Guard College 4 years ago, bringing with us a variety of educational, work, and life experiences. But regardless of where we came from or what brought us here, we soon realized that we all shared one common goal. That goal was to arrive here, to this moment, eager and prepared to move forward into our future careers. And perhaps the best way to unite a group of individuals is to give them a shared goal. Or as some members of history, and perhaps some members of my class might put it, we need a common enemy to unite us. When people share a common goal, they can accomplish a great deal, and this program proved to be a worthy adversary. There were long days of classes, late nights of studying, and extended periods of time on ship during sea phase. But life does not provide us with challenges so that we might fail, but rather so that we will succeed. La classe 2016 est composée d'individus très variés. Nous sommes arrivés au collège voilà maintenant 4 ans, avec des connaissances, des expériences et des carrières très différentes. Malgré cela, nous avons rapidement réalisé que nous partagions tous le même but, celui d'atteindre ce moment présent. Heureux et excités à l'idée d'entamer notre nouvelle carrière. Comme certains ont déjà dit par le passé, et comme certains membres de notre classe diraient, rien ne renforce plus l'amitié qu'un ennemi commun. Lorsqu'une équipe partage un même objectif, elle peut accomplir de grandes choses, et ce programme s'est avéré être le parfait défi. Il y a eu de longues journées, de longues heures d'études tard la nuit, et des stages en mer absolument interminables. Cependant, la vie ne nous envoie pas des épreuves pour que l'on tombe, mais plutôt pour nous permettre de réussir. We all have our own personal memories of our time here at the Canadian Coast Guard College. My fondest memory will not be one significant, impactful event, but rather a series of small moments when I reached out to a classmate for help. Every time I asked for advice or assistance, I was never refused. I believe this to be our class's greatest strength, the ability to help one another. There are countless examples of this, from organizing a United States Coast Guard tall ship visit to Cape Breton during exam week with only a few hours warning, to putting out fires during our Marine Emergency Duties training, to preparing for tests, to studying for Transport Canada exams, or most recently, during our damage control training, when we were required to wedge doors and hatches closed in very cold, chest-deep water. When we are able to demonstrate this level of compassion for each other, by helping one another, we are not simply just team building, but rather, we are building a community. This, for me, represents the most significant lesson we learn while at the college, because when we are out at sea, the ship's crew must work together. We must be self-sufficient as a whole, both dependent on each other and supportive of one another. Nous avons tous nos propres souvenirs de notre temps passé ici au collège. Mes souvenirs les plus chers ne sont certainement pas les plus spectaculaires ou les plus grandioses, mais plutôt une série de petits moments où j'ai demandé de l'aide à mes camarades. À chaque instant où je demandais des conseils ou du soutien, ils ne m'étaient jamais refusés. Je crois sincèrement que cela est, en vérité, notre plus grande force en tant que groupe. La propension à l'entraide et au travail d'équipe. Il y a d'innombrables exemples qui font foi de cela, telle la visite impromptue d'un navire à voile de la guerre côtière américaine au Cap-Breton, alors que nous étions tous en pleine semaine d'examen, ou lorsque nous combattions les feux lors de notre formation d'urgence en mer, ou durant les nombreuses préparations en vue de nos examens. Même plus récemment, lors de notre formation de lutte contre les avaries, nous devions absolument boucher les brèches d'où s'engouffrent des litres d'eau glaciale qui ont tout fait d'inonder le compartiment jusqu'aux épaules. Devant une telle démonstration de compassion et d'entraide, il ne s'agit plus là d'une équipe, mais d'une communauté. Voilà ce qui, selon moi, représente la plus grande leçon reçue durant mon séjour au collège. Puisqu'après tout, l'équipage d'un navire se doit de fonctionner de la même manière. Ils doivent travailler en équipe. Ils doivent être indépendants tout en offrant du support au restant de l'équipage. Les secours sont très loin lorsque nous sommes au large. I speak now to the graduating class of 2016. It is our duty to look to ourselves for strength and to look to each other for support as we enter this next phase of our life. No matter what ship we join, we have a responsibility to create that sense of community that will steer us in a safe direction. And I am certain that we will all succeed in doing so. Je m'adresse maintenant à la classe de 2016. Il est de notre responsabilité de faire appel à notre camarade lorsque nous avons besoin de support, tout comme nous devons continuer à offrir notre aide alors que nous nous apprêtons à entreprendre une grande étape de notre vie. Peu importe le navire, nous avons la responsabilité de nourrir ce sens de communauté qui nous guidera toujours vers les eaux calmes, et je suis sûr que nous allons y parvenir. You do not see the world like before. Now you see the world as sailors. And as sailors, we must recognize our ability to effect the change we want to see. We cannot control all aspects of our profession, but we can control our attitudes towards all aspects of our profession. Furthermore, in bringing the spirit of accountability, responsibility, and collectivity to the profession, we will prevail in bringing safety first, service always. There will be difficult days and individuals who prove challenging to work with. but we should never lose sight of how fortunate we are to work as representatives of this great country. When we put on our uniforms, we are not just acting as ourselves, we are representing our government, our flag, and most importantly, our nation's people. Vous ne voyez plus le monde comme avant, vous le voyez maintenant comme un marin. Et comme marin professionnel, nous devons reconnaître notre habilité à changer ce que nous voulons changer. Nous ne pouvons pas contrôler tous les aspects inhérents à notre profession, mais nous pouvons contrôler notre attitude face à ceux-ci. De plus, dans un esprit de responsabilité et de collectivité au sein de notre profession, nous allons respecter notre devise. Sécurité, d'abord, service constant. Il y aura des journées difficiles et des collègues moins coopératifs. Mais n'oubliez jamais à quel point nous sommes chanceux de travailler comme représentants de notre grand pays. Lorsque nous portons nos uniformes, nous représentons plus que nous-mêmes. Nous représentons notre gouvernement, notre patrie et surtout nos citoyens. At this time, I'd like to extend a thank you to all our instructors, college staff, and Coast Guard personnel who have aided us in this journey. Thank you. An individual's ability to succeed in life also depends greatly on the support network of family and friends. On behalf of my classmates and myself, I extend a sincere thank you to those family members and friends, whether they are here today or not, for the guidance, encouragement, and support you have provided. Congratulations to you as well for your contributions to our success. J'aimerais maintenant remercier tous les instructeurs, les employés du collège et le personnel de la garde côtière qui nous ont supportés au travers de ce périple. La capacité d'une personne à connaître du succès au cours de sa vie est intimement liée au support qu'il obtient de sa famille et de ses amis. Au nom de tous mes camarades, je tiens à remercier chaleureusement toutes ces personnes pour les conseils, les encouragements et le support qu'elles ont offert tout au long de ces 4 années. Mes félicitations à vous pour votre contribution à notre succès. Enfin à vous, mes camarades, merci pour ces belles années. Nous avons attendu ce jour avec impatience et devant un tel accomplissement, il est important de célébrer. Lastly, to my classmates, thank you for 4 great years. We have been looking forward to this day with great anticipation, and when one achieves a milestone in life, it is important to celebrate it. And I feel honored to celebrate with you all. C'est un honneur pour moi de célébrer avec vous. To the graduating class of 2016, à la promotion 2016, congratulations. Félicitations. Thank you. Merci.
Officer Sanford, thank you. Those were beautiful words. Merci, Officier Sanford. De magnifiques paroles. I would like to invite Mr. Brian LeBlanc, Executive Director of the Coast Guard College, to address all of you. Alors j'invite maintenant Monsieur Leblanc, directeur exécutif du collège, pour le dernier discours de cette célébration. Monsieur Leblanc.
Merci, Nicole. Excellent speech, Mr. Sanford. Next year, I'm going first. And after that infrastructure announcement of 32 million yesterday, I'm certainly looking forward to air conditioning in the gym. So thanks again to our honored guests. J'aimerais remercier tous les invités distingués. I'm going to depart from my usual graduation speech, which is normally along the lines of my address in the graduation brochure. You can certainly read it for yourselves. Je vais m'écarter de mon discours habituel, de remise des diplômes, qui ressemble normalement à mon allocution dans la brochure de remise des diplômes. Vous pouvez certainement la lire vous-même. I would like to instead offer some words of wisdom which I gained from my experience in the Coast Guard as a Coast Guard College graduate in 1986, 30 years ago, through my journey in the Canadian Coast Guard. These are my personal experiences I would like to share with you, our newest Coast Guard officers. J'aimerais plutôt vous offrir quelques mots de la sagesse que j'ai moi-même acquise grâce à mon expérience. D'abord, à titre de nouveau diplômé du Collège de la Garde côtière en 1986 et tout au long de mes 33 ans de carrière à la Garde côtière. Il s'agit d'expériences personnelles dont j'aimerais vous faire part, à vous les tout nouveaux officiers de la Garde côtière. First, you will learn more from your fellow officers and crew, more than you think possible. The absolute best thing you can do as a new officer is to be humble and learn about being an officer in charge of people. Even if you have the latest and greatest way of doing something, sometimes you have to step back and take their advice. Ask for their advice, ask for their opinion. They probably have been in the same situation before. If you have to go in a different direction, it is best to explain why. Vous en prendrez plus de vos collègues officiers et de votre équipage que vous ne le pensez. La meilleure chose à faire en tant que nouvel officier est de demeurer humble et d'apprendre à devenir un officier responsable d'une équipe. Même si vous connaissez la meilleure et toute dernière façon de faire quelque chose. Parfois, vous devez prendre du recul et tenir compte des conseils des membres d'équipage. Demandez-leur leur avis et leur opinion. Ils ont probablement déjà vécu une telle situation. Si vous devez aller à l'encontre de leurs conseils, il est mieux de leur expliquer pourquoi. If you are considering giving orders or doing something purely to show that you're in charge, you're about to do something unwise, to put it politely. In most cases, you'll realize you made a mistake, and that'll be the end of it. But in the worst situations, you may be endangering the ship. In any case, it is if your decision is based on something other than your navigation or engineering training, this will be apparent to everyone affected by it. Think before you take action. Si vous prévoyez donner des ordres ou agir simplement pour faire savoir que vous êtes le responsable, vous vous apprêtez à faire quelque chose de déraisonnable, pour le dire poliment. Dans la plupart des cas, vous vous rendrez compte que vous avez fait une erreur et ce sera tout. Dans les pires situations, par contre, vous pourriez mettre la sécurité du navire en danger. Dans tous les cas, si votre décision est basée sur autre chose que votre formation en navigation ou en ingénierie, ce sera évident pour toutes les personnes concernées. réfléchissez avant d'agir. Enfin, c'est important, n'oubliez pas d'avoir du plaisir. Après votre travail ici, au collège, oui, vous avez travaillé fort, ayez du plaisir dans la flotte. Le fait d'être loin de vos proches et de vos amis pendant vos études au collège a été difficile. Les difficultés auxquelles vous avez dû faire face vous ont préparé aux nouveaux défis qui vous attendent dans votre nouvelle carrière dans la garde côtière. Peut-être ne changerez-vous pas le monde, ni la garde côtière canadienne, ni votre navire. Mais un jour, vous pourriez recevoir une lettre ou un courriel de quelqu'un vous disant que vous avez changé sa vie. Qui sait, vous pourriez participer à une opération qui sera inscrite dans tous les livres d'histoire. Il est aussi possible que vous ne ferez rien de tout cela et que vous n'aurez que la satisfaction de savoir que vous avez donné 100% de ce que vous avez à donner. And lastly, and this is the important one, enjoy yourself. For all the hard work here at the college, and yes, it was extremely hard work, enjoy yourself in the fleet. Being away from families and friends while studying at the college and in your career on board ships will be challenging. The challenges at the college will now prepare you for the new challenges as you embark on a very rewarding career in the Canadian Coast Guard. You may not change the world, the Canadian Coast Guard, or your ship, but one day you may get a letter or email from someone saying you changed their world. Who knows? You may participate in an operation that goes down in the history books, if you haven't done so already. You may also do none of that and only have the satisfaction that you gave 100% of what you could. Pour terminer, au nom du Collège de la Garde Côtière, je souhaite féliciter sincèrement chacun d'entre vous pour votre succès, sans oublier tous ceux qui vous ont assisté tout au long de votre parcours d'apprentissage. Je pense également à votre famille, vos amis, vos camarades de classe et bien entendu vos instructeurs et le personnel de soutien et de l'administration. In closing, on behalf of the Canadian Coast Guard College, I would like to extend my congratulations to each of you for your success today and to those who have supported you along your learning path. This includes your family, friends, fellow classmates, and of course the instructors, administration, and support staff. Best of luck in the future as the newest Coast Guard officers. Bonne chance dans votre carrière d'officier de la Garde Côtière. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Leblanc. Thank you so much, Monsieur Leblanc. I would now like to invite Reverend Rosemary Godin to give a message to the graduates. J'aimerais inviter la révérende Rosemary Godin à présenter son message aux gradués.
Well, on this special day, we gather here to support, encourage, and celebrate with the graduates and their families. We want them to know that we hold only good thoughts for their future. Graduates, we are proud of you and your accomplishments. Merci pour le service que vous offrez pour toutes les Canadiennes. Nous espérons que vos aventures en mer soient toujours sécuritaires. Aujourd'hui, Vous êtes formés à être des officiers compétents qui sont prêts à aller de l'avant avec respect de soi, confiance, courage et engagement envers les autres. Ceci est juste le début d'une nouvelle vie pour vous. Whenever and wherever you serve, may you always be safe, and may your presence make the seas and waterways of this great country a safe place for all of us to be. Félicitations et bonne chance tout le monde.
Merci beaucoup, Révérend Godin. We are rapidly getting to the last little bit of this wonderful ceremony. Alors, nous approchons rapidement de la fin de cette cérémonie. I would like to extend my gratitude to the graduation committee, to Parks Canada staff, and all hands who made this weekend of celebration possible. J'aimerais remercier le comité de collation des grades, les membres de Parcs Canada et tous ceux et celles qui ont contribué au succès de cette fin de semaine. Award recipients are required to meet by the bell for pictures shortly after this celebration. Alors, les récipiendaires des prix sont requis à la cloche pour les photos aussitôt que cette célébration sera terminée. The executive director of the college invites all guests to a reception in the Cabot building. Alors, le directeur exécutif du collège vous invite à une réception immédiatement après cette cérémonie dans l'édifice Cabot. Officer Campbell, carry on.
Nage 2016. Gardez-vous. Vers la gauche. Tournez. Vers la gauche. Pas cadencer. Marche. Par la droite, alignez. Tête fixe.
Please stand, ladies and gentlemen, for the general salute. Alors, s'il vous plaît, veuillez vous lever pour le salut général.
General salute. Salute.
Officer Campbell, Officier Campbell, pour la dernière fois, for the last time, please dismiss the class of 2016.
For the last time, pour la dernière fois. Vers la droite. Trompez.